Hey folks, Brian again. This is my GM musings about my last gaming session, which was Princess of the Apocalypse side quest, the Ice Shield Orcs. The mass combat, I had kind of come up with my own number of ways. There's two ways I was looking at doing. One was just based on straight average percentage numbers, how many people from each side are going to die every round, that kind of thing. The other was, let's just kind of roll once for each side and have an aggregate result. I had worked all that out, but when it came to actually run the session, I couldn't find those anywhere. And so I was going through my head real quick, scratching, dotting down on scratch paper. Now, what I could remember of all that kind of stuff. But something I did not factor in was all the NPCs. And for that matter, the PCs. I had already figured out how they attack, 10 from each side kind of thing. But the players, they laid out the NPCs and the PCs and all the commoners and stuff. And so I had, a side versus side kind of thing in 4 different areas. Actually, 5. I had 5 regular orcs with the Orog and the I've Grummash coming towards the house itself. And since I didn't calculate in all these different classes with different levels into the whole mass combat thing, it kind of very quickly deteriorated into one-on-one stuff. And so I was rolling lots of dice left and right. And it took, in my opinion, it took too long. The guys didn't seem to have much of an issue with that, although Lady Jovashai seemed to want to do an awful lot every round. So I just kind of fudged with some of that kind of stuff. They had pretty decent stuff. They put all the scouts up on top of the barn. They put a couple of bowmen up on top of the house. Lady Jovashai was on top of the smithy, and they had commoners and party members and NPCs along the fence line. Pretty sort of setup. Now, if I would have had that beforehand and I could have jotted down their basic stats kind of deal and made that ratio, it's taking like 5 minutes maybe at that point to do that. It might have run things faster. But all in all, I mean, 2 or 3 NPCs died. A half dozen of them got hurt. None of the PCs got hurt really, or died or anything like that. So, and a large number of the orcs went down. So, all in all, it worked out pretty well. I actually talked about this in the first video, so I'm duplicating stuff here. I apologize. My son is one of my players, and he really wants more magic items in the campaign. So I've been just on the side pulling out the DM's guide, all the named NPCs in the book, critical rating, CR. There's CR. I guess the random tables. Some folks end up with stuff. Some folks don't, depending upon the die rolls. Some powerful things and some not so powerful things, or things that just don't really apply. So I write them down. And I took care of all of that. And I started thinking, well, then there's also, groups of people that may have magical items too. For example, this squad of orcs attacking the Delmar Ranch. 40 orcs, an Orog, and an Eye of Grummash. They got a calculated CR or whatever it was. And so I rolled and ended up rolling really high. And so they ended up rolling a couple of times on a significant table. And the Orog ended up with the Horn of Blasty, which has a range of 600 feet, a 30-foot cone, and 5d8 damage, sonic damage to everybody in there. I have Grummash ended up with a power word kill scroll and an earthquake scroll, both of which would have just that plus the horn. Sneer is over. They've wiped out everything. Everybody in Delmar Ranch is dead. Everything's collapsed. They've taken damage from that. Everybody's been blasted. They've taken damage from that. If anybody actually gets out and comes running towards them, power word kill. What do you do? This did bring up an issue because we were discussing this afterwards with some of the players that I'd rolled this stuff, so I took that out. And but there was some minor stuff they had, which was very helpful and kept things going anyway. So, but discussing the kind of thing, and one of the players had mentioned about, yeah, but they still got a roll to use the scroll, and I stopped because I don't remember anything about there being a skill roll for scroll usage. So back in the DM's guide, I'm looking up scrolls, and it says that anybody who can read can read a scroll, and that's one of the first things that I personally would change. The scrolls are written in a language, right? And then they have the scroll misfire table, but there's no correlation. What causes a scroll misfire? Doesn't say in the DM's guide. At least I could find under scrolls, which is page 139 and 140. 139 actually is soft scrolls. 140 is the misfire table. So I look in the player's guide. Nothing on scrolls at all. So I'm thinking an Arcana roll. So I look under Arcana. Nothing about using scrolls. So if anybody out there knows what the 5th edition D&D rules are for scrolls, go ahead and make a comment and let me know, because I can't find it anywhere. And it used to be that, scrolls all powered, is all set up, you just read it and it goes. There is no roll. So there's obviously got to be some kind of mechanic because it got a misfire table. So not sure how that's supposed to work, but if you know, let me know. I appreciate it. Other things with the whole campaign deal issue, my son, the half-orc, wants to challenge the Ice Shield Orc tribal leader to one-on-one combat to take control of the tribe. And he got this idea actually from our Underdark campaign transitioning to Storm King's Thunder, because my character in that campaign is a half-orc paladin. And we ended up doing that kind of thing where he'd run to a patrol of orcs and he'd take the leader on one-on-one, smack him down, take everybody together, and there was this old ruined fort, and we started funneling orcs over there, start rebuilding, build a barracks, then we're going to build a temple. And the party's idea, and my character Dimit, he actually cared less about orcs, just from his background, his backstory. So he didn't really want to do this, but the party thought it was really cool, so we went along with it. And the whole idea was we build up this orc army to fight the giants. Because we can't necessarily fight giants, right? And so there's a whole side story going on with that kind of thing. And so my son, seeing that happen there, wants to do that here. And I don't really have a problem with that. My concern has been this half-orc's been wading through people. I mean, he walked through this Orog. An Orog with Storm Giant strength because he took a potion in 2 rounds. Now he's a 5th level barbarian, so he's taking half damage from everything. Taking half damage from everything is for psychic. And he's hitting twice a round now. And he's got a pretty decent armor class. And I mean, this Orog should have been a fight for him, especially with a 19, a 21 strength, a plus 9 damage. But it wasn't. So I haven't compared an Orog with the Orc Chieftain guy. I forgot what he's called. Try to make a comparison and see how different. I know that the Orc Chieftain is an 11 hit die creature. The Orog I don't remember offhand. And so, if he's going to take over a tribe, I want it to be a fight. I mean, I want it to be like, critical role, Grog versus his dad kind of thing, right? So I haven't rolled magic for him yet. The leader, and I've actually decided it's a girl, a half-orc. But she's going off that stat block for the chieftain, and I'm actually decided to give him levels, or her levels. Same for his eye of Grumbush, the head shaman. And so I was just kind of rolling random stuff out of the front of the player's handbook. What kind of levels could he get? Because I'm thinking stuff like maybe if he ended up with like a warlock, go for the blade kind of deal. It's just weird stuff to give this flavor things and make this fight real fight. I ended up rolling Third level sorcerer, second level cleric. There's his 5 levels. And then for the shaman and rolling, third level monk, second level barbarian. Okay, we're switching those. So this orc chieftain is going to come out, not in chainmail, female, no armor. Now, in the player's handbook and per that stuff that Wizards of the Coast puts out on, not errata, but questions, stuff, sage advice, something like that, whatever. They talk about unarmed combat is unarmed combat, and you can't have 2 unarmed combats. So if you have a barbarian unarmed combat, which uses your constitution as a bonus, and you have monk unarmed combat, which uses your wisdom as a bonus, you have to choose one or the other. Not my world. You get a constitution bonus for a reason. You get a wisdom bonus for a reason. If you have both those reasons, then you got both. So that's how I'm going to run that one. So it should be pretty interesting. We'll see how that all goes out. What else? I talked before about how the mass combat went slow. I tried to figure out a way to make that more quickly. I lost my notes. And that was unfortunate. It kind of dragged for the game itself. But all in all, I mean, everybody still had fun, and we got the results that would generally have occurred. That kind of deal. The party didn't seem to be so worried about these 40 orcs, although they're still we're still in less than 20, I think, of the orcs left when the elves showed up. So, and I could have done an elves versus orcs thing too, just mass combat kind of deal. But at that point, it was late, and so there wasn't any purpose to it, I didn't think. Some other stuff going on. Oh, I talked about Lady Josiah on the other one. So I guess that's it for this time, guys. Thanks for listening. And if you got any comments or suggestions on stuff that I'm doing, let me know. That's what this whole thing's about, right? I'm not here to advertise my game or to although it's always interesting to see how other people play the game, what you can take from other folks. That's the reason I'm doing this, so we can work together on improving our own games. That's why I watch other guys' stuff. What can I pick up from you that I can apply to my game to make it more fun? Yeah, we'll see. Anyway, happy gaming, guys. Have a good weekend. Summer breaks next week. We'll see how that goes. Ciao.